Hey everyone, so I've been doing a whole bunch of videos using these into resin molds. In last week's video I showed you different projects that I did with this crab mold and also with a whale mold. I did Christmas ornaments, glass on glass art, night lights, even putting them on candles and jars. And this week I am going to be doing an entire video just on this starfish. I have so many different projects that I am going to show you with this. Christmas ornaments, just things that you probably wouldn't think about. So keep watching. Link to this mold and 20% discount code in the description. This pretty teal starfish was actually created with the Tea Expert pigment paste and Bond Crafter resin. And you should always put your colorant in the resin before you put it in the bubble removal machine, because when you mix the colorant in, it will add bubbles. And everything that I put into a mold, I do put into the bubble removal machine. And I only use this for casting resin. You can't use it for coating resin. Coating resin is too thick and it will create more bubbles. So only for casting resin. And when you add a colorant to resin and put it in the bubble removal machine, make sure you have room at the top, because a lot of times it will cause it to bubble up more and it can actually flow right over the top of the cup. Sometimes you have to divide it into 2 cups. You can see this one going up a little, but not that much. Started with a starfish that was 3/4 full with epoxy resin that was already cured. And then I mixed up some more epoxy resin with some sand and put that in the bottom half of the starfish, and then mixed up some more epoxy resin with 2 different colors, blue, and poured that in the top of the starfish, and then let this cure for 2 hours. And the crystal effect on the front, or diamond effect, whatever it is, I think looks much prettier when you have a layer of clear cured and then you put the colorant or whatever under it. I think that looks really pretty like that. And I actually did it both ways, and at the end I'll show you the difference. Next one is with blue shell chips. I just poured a little bit of the resin in the bottom, put the shells on top, poured a little bit more resin on the top, and this turned out super pretty. I also did this with the regular natural shell chips. Looks pretty both ways, and you can get this, I guess maybe they're called crushed shells. You can get those up at Hobby Lobby, at Michael's, and on Amazon. Then I made the starfish white 3 different ways. This one I put some extra fine glitter in. The next one I used something called interference powder, and I will put a link to that. It's real pretty. And then the third one I actually used the eye candy snowflake mica powder. I'll show all 3 of them at the end up close. The next one, I put a little resin in the bottom and then filled the starfish with pearls, and then put a little bit more resin over the top. And about 2.5 hours later I demolded that, and that turned out pretty. Not as pretty as I thought it would. Some of the pearls I left the whole side up, so I didn't like the way that looked, but it was still pretty. Majority of the starfish were cured in my new Resiner's curing machine. It only takes 2 hours to cure. And then I just did them a bunch of different colors. This is another teal one. I did one, I don't know, that kind of turned out brown. I did one with glow-in-the-dark colors. And then I did one with this special effects interference powder again, but I brushed it on a layer of cured resin. Somebody on our Facebook group showed that up close in one of the videos on the Facebook group. And on top of that, I poured resin mixed with some pretty blue mica powder and let that cure up. And that turned out real pretty too. And again, I'm going to show you everything at the end, all close up. So the majority of the starfish that I made were all cured in my new Resiner's curing machine. It's the G3. And you can even do glass art in it. I put it at the highest setting for 2 hours, and after 2 hours it goes into a cooling mode, and after that half an hour is up you can demold your project. I have a link in the description for the Resiners G3 curing machine along with a 15% discount code. For one of the first projects with all these starfish that I've made, I have actually painted 3 canvases blue. In the end, I don't end up using the large one because I think the starfish is too small for it, but I do put some special effects on it if you keep watching. So in order to do the Dawn dishwasher effect, I have to put resin on the canvas first. I've shown you in previous videos what it looks like if you do not put resin on it first, and it comes out very light. The effect isn't as good. So anyway, to start with, I prepare the canvases. After they've been painted and dried, I take painter's tape and put it along the perimeter of the back of each of the canvases, and this way it'll catch the drips. And somebody on our Facebook group was asking about the resin dripping up and under it. So this will help. You have to press it down really hard, and you also as you're resining it, you should swipe like a popsicle stick or a toothpick under it and kind of swipe the drips off. That might help prevent it from getting under the tape, but pressing it down really hard will help also. Thought I was videoing it when I put the resin on, but I had my camera off, and all I did was poured resin on top and actually picked the whole canvas up in my hand and spread it out with my gloved hand. And then I used the kitchen torch to get rid of the bubbles. And I swiped the popsicle stick under the edges to wipe off the drips, and then I let this cure overnight. I also poured 6 4-inch diameter coaster molds and then took Elmer's glue and put it on the back to protect them from drips. So just like I put the tape on the back of the canvas, this glue, Elmer's glue, will protect the backing from drips, and then you can just pull it off. So at first I was trying to cover the entire back, but really I don't think the drips will get in the center. So after I was doing it for a few minutes, I decided I was just going to do it around the edges. So I'm going to go through this part kind of fast because I didn't like the way they all turned out. I was spraying the spray too close and putting too heavy a coat of the Dawn spray on it. And I was holding the spray paint too close. So I end up redoing a couple of them, so keep watching, and I'm going to tell you what my mistakes were, and then you'll see the beautiful result. So what I had to do to redo the ones that I didn't like was I just took them out in the garage again, sanded down the side with the paint on it, and then sprayed them with isopropyl alcohol and wiped them down with the soft cloth. Then I brought them in the house and took UV resin and put it on top of both of them. And the reason I had to do the UV resin is because this effect works best on a glossy finish. So I just took, I guess this is the Bond Crafter UV resin, and spread it on the top and put the UV light on it for 3 minutes. And then I took them both back out into the garage. And this time I stood further back and sprayed a lighter amount and then the paint. And look at how much better this turned out. So a sparser amount of the Dawn dish soap gives you a darker effect, and I kind of like that. And then holding it further away, both the spray paint and the Dawn dish soap. And I like the way both of those turned out. This is the spray paint I used, Rust-Oleum Paint and Primer Blossom White Satin. I'm sure it doesn't matter if it's satin or gloss or flat because you're going to be putting resin over it anyway, and it's going to make it glossy again. And then this last one I ended up redoing also by sanding it down, putting UV resin on it, and then taking it back out to the garage. And again, from spraying a little bit further away, both the dish spray and the spray paint, and then pouring water over that. And I think this one turned out really good. So that's the trick. I've done this before on canvas, but it had been a while since I'd done it, so I kind of forgot. So yeah, I think that turned out real pretty too. I love that effect. So because 3 of them I had to redo and I wiped down with the isopropyl alcohol, it messed up the glue on the back, so I had to kind of clean it up a little bit and put more glue on it, but that's okay. And then of course I had to let it dry again. So then after the resin on the canvases were dry, I went ahead and sprayed those and did the same thing. And by this time I had figured out I had been doing it too close. And when you do canvas, it's good, especially these tall canvases. These are almost like 2 inch tall, maybe an inch and a half on the sides. Um, it's good to spray, walk all the way around it and spray the sides so that you get effects on all the sides. And one side didn't turn out great, but the rest of them turned out really nice. So I went ahead and I did all 3 canvases, and I'll just go through this slow for 1 minute. I think these turned out real pretty. Make sure you move all your other stuff out of the way and you have your water ready. So here I am going around and getting it on all of the edges too. It's probably better if you have a smaller table so you can walk all the way around it. I couldn't really walk all the way around this table, but isn't that pretty? I think that turned out so pretty. And then here's the final one. Yeah, I think it's better if you have it up on top of like a little cup or something. And again, spray from kind of a distance and try to do it kind of lightly. I think the lighter the better. I think that one's perfect. And then get all the sides and the top with your paint. And that is a painter primer. Isn't that pretty? I think that turned out so nice. So then I set them all up on the resining table, mixed up my resin. The resin I'm using for this project is the Bond Crafter Tabletop Epoxy. And I just poured a little bit on each of the little coaster, spread it out, and I did use my finger to spread it out around the edges also. And remember, this has the glue on the bottom, so if any drips drip down, it should catch it. And the funny thing is, I did all these one at a time. I don't even think I had to use the kitchen torch on it. I didn't see any bubbles at all. And I did use the little popsicle stick to go around the edges to wipe off some of the drips. But this morning when I got up and looked at them, the one with the white star in, way over at the end there, I had never put resin on. I totally missed it. But I did sprinkle, I'm looking back at the video, and I sprinkled the glitter on it, but I never put resin on it. I didn't even notice till this morning. So this morning I ended up putting some more resin on it and a little more glitter and finished it off. And the same thing with the canvases. I just pick them up with my hand and spread the resin around the edges and stick the starfish on. It's really important that your project is on a flat level surface. After I'm done with the project, I always come back every 15 minutes to check for glass placement, but in this case, star placement. Make sure it hasn't drifted off, because that can happen, especially if it's a little bit unlevel. Sitting on that resin, it can slide real easily. I come back and I check for sediment and get it out with a toothpick. I check for bubbles and retorch if necessary. This resin sets best at temperatures between 70 and 80 degrees Fahrenheit. It has a work time of about 40 minutes. And all resins are different. You need to read the directions for the resin that you are using. So once the resin is on, I come back with some glitter. This is real fine glitter from Resiners. They have it both in the, I think it's called laser silver and laser golden. Look at how fine it is. And it doesn't look like a Christmassy glitter, but yet it could be Christmassy. So in other words, you could add it to your coastal projects just to give it a little extra sparkle. Or you could, can you see I just put glitter on that one with the white star, and I don't have any resin on it. I forgot to resin it. I didn't even notice. But anyway, you can add this to your coastal projects just to give it a little extra sparkle, and it doesn't make it look Christmassy, but yet it could be Christmassy. Like the round ones, those could be little Christmas ornaments. So the next day it was all cured, and I'm just going to do this first one slow. This has the Elmer's glue on the back, and it looks like a mess. And you really have to kind of get something pointy under there to loosen it, but you have to be careful that you don't scratch the back at the same time. But once you do get it started, it comes off real easily, and you can see the little resin bumps on there that would be stuck to it if you had not put anything under it. And see how when it comes up, it all kind of pops up at once. And this one may have been one of the ones that some glue got in the center also, which was kind of a pain to get off. But what I ended up doing was spraying it with some isopropyl alcohol, and the center part came up. But look at how that comes off all in one piece. And this I'm just going to kind of fast forward through. So I spray some isopropyl alcohol and use a little razor and just clean the back. And each of them comes off like that. The big piece of glue, it's really kind of cool. It peels right off. So really the only other alternative you would have is to put, well, I guess some people put silicone on the back, or you could actually put tape on the back, but that would take forever. So anyway, after I got that cleaned up, then I moved on to the canvases. For the canvases, you saw we put the tape on the back, and oh, the actual cups were stuck too, and this is really stuck on. I don't remember. I think I left it on for, because remember we had to put resin on it the first time, and then we sprayed the Dawn effect on it, and then we resined it again. So this stuff is really stuck on there. But if you use the heat gun, it comes off so much easier. And this has a ton of resin underneath it too. So the heat gun is really the trick. And the sooner that you take it off after you've resined, the easier it will come off. And I'll just fast forward through the rest of this. I also made up 6 more 4-inch diameter coaster molds and mixed it with clear resin and the Let's Resin Chameleon Flakes. I just love those Let's Resin Chameleon Flakes. I use them on a lot, and actually I'm almost all out. I need some more. And then I just let this set up for 2 hours on my heat table. And then I just popped them out, and I put a little bit of UV resin underneath the starfish and put it on my UV light and put that on for 3 minutes each. For the next part of this starfish project, I used my large coaster molds again, and those 2 small coaster molds I'm also going to be using. And then what I do is I mix up a bunch of resin, and I put 3 different color blues, and I'm using color pigment, not alcohol ink, and I mix them into the 3 different cups of resin. And in the other cup of clear resin, I mix some extra fine white crystal diamond glitter, and just set that aside. I poured 2 of the blues on each side of the coaster mold, and the light blue, I set some of that aside and then poured the rest into the clear resin with the glitter and dumped that into the 2 smaller molds that you see right there. Then poured the remaining of the light blue into the center of those coaster molds. And I know you can't tell by looking at this because those coaster molds are so dark, but when I pop these out of here, the colors on them are so pretty and so coastal or sea-like. The difficulty with these smaller molds is they have a lip all the way around the top, and they catch bubbles. Can you see the bubbles under there? And you have to go around the edge, and I mean, I worked on this for like 15 minutes. You have to go all the way around the edge and pull all the bubbles out. And even after doing that on the first one, I ended up with so many bubbles. This one turned out much better. You have to use something that's pointy but that is not sharp because you don't want to scratch the mold. And I just had to work on it for, like I said, about 15 minutes. So next I demold the large ones and the small ones, and the large ones are kind of hard to tell, but they really are a super pretty color, and I'll show you up close in a second. So the small ones did end up with some holes from the bubbles, just a couple, and what I did was just squirted a little UV resin down on my wax paper and then picked it up with a dotting tool and dotted into the holes and then held it under the UV light, and that seemed to take care of the holes. They weren't as visible. And then next I took more UV resin and put it on the back of the smaller molds and just put that down in the center of the larger molds and put it under the UV light, and that held it in place. And I did that with both of them. And they both have a little design on the top, so I have the design portion angled up. Hey everyone, I have a snowman resin mold giveaway. It's an into resin mold. I did a video on it. It's video number 358, Christmas in July 2025. If you haven't checked out the video, check it out. Comment in the comments on it that you would like to have the snowman mold and you will be entered into the drawing. It's a really good video where I made a bunch of different molds from snowman, Christmas tree, from into resin, and I made some really cute projects with the actual snowman. Isn't he adorable? So go ahead and put a comment under that video. Like I said, it's number 358. That you'd like the snowman mold and you'll be entered into the contest. Thanks for watching. If you've never worked with UV resin, it is super easy to work with and it cures in 3 to 5 minutes. So it's really nice for a quick bond. And this Let's Resin UV light is right now my favorite light, and it's nice because it's versatile. You can turn it, one way or the other. And then of course I pick up the molds and put it on the bottom, let it cure from the bottom too, and because it's translucent, the UV light can reach it, so it will cure it. You just can't have anything opaque because the light needs to be able to reach the resin to cure it. So for this next part, instead of using regular UV resin, I'm using a Let's Resin bonding resin. And the difference between the bonding resin and regular UV resin is it cures in 3 seconds. You just hold your little light on it, and it's good for projects where you have to have something stand up immediately like that, and you don't want to hold on to it for, say, 3 to 5 minutes. So the difference between the bonding resin and regular resin is bonding resin is 3 seconds, regular resin is 3 to 5 minutes for a complete cure. And then I just decorate them with a bunch of little seashells by putting regular UV resin down on the bottom and the seashells on top, and I'm all done. And again, just putting the UV light on it for 3 to 5 minutes, and then it's all cured up. And again, at the end, I'll show you everything all finished, I promise, up close. So next I had bought a bunch of different beads on Amazon, some wood ones, and they had little coastal starfish and seahorse, and then I bought these glass beads also. And originally I just bought them all thinking I would send some back, but I loved them all, so I ended up keeping them, and they're a beautiful addition to the ornaments that I'm about to make. And if you haven't seen my last video, I used these same beads for the crab mold ornaments. They turned out so pretty. So I start with the Resiner's cordless rotary tool that I had gotten, and it's really cool because it comes in a compact case. It is cordless. It does come with a charging cord, but I don't even use that. I just plug it right into my iPhone charger, which is really neat. And it comes with an external collet there and then an internal one, and you just pick whatever tool you want to use. And it has drill bits, it has sanders, it has grinders, and it has polishers. And you just take whatever tool that you're going to be using, which in this case I'm going to be using the drill bit, and you stick it in the internal collet so that you find the right size. You stick that in, and then you cover it with the larger collet that goes over the top. It sounds complicated, but it is so simple. If I can figure it out, you guys can figure it out. And then you put like I said, the top larger collet on, and before you screw it all the way down, you put your drill bit in, then continue to tighten it, and when it gets to the end, you push on the white button and click it one more time, and it snaps it or locks it in place. It's super easy to use, and to unlock it, you do the same thing. To start it, you hold on to the button there, and you just tap it each time you want it to go faster. And I just drilled the holes right through the resin pieces. And if it's just resin, it'll go through. If there's any kind of chips, glass or shell chips in it, you need something different. And actually, I would not recommend trying to drill through anything with glass or with the shell chips. I would just use the bail blanks, and I would either use the E6000 to glue them on the back, or I would put them on the back while the starfish is in the curing process. You cannot use the little hole makers, the Windows little hole makers on this, because the bottom of it is not, I want to say solid. The bottom of it is not flat. It's not smooth. It has a textured bottom, so the little Windows hole makers will not stick to the bottom of the mold of the starfish. So I drilled holes through the majority of the starfish, like I said, except for the few that I had to put the bail blanks on the back. And then I started putting the string through and the beads on, and the beads were such a pretty addition to the starfish. They made them look even cuter than they already were. So I had a lot of fun with that. And then after I finished up stringing up the starfish, I moved on to the coaster molds with the starfish on them. And the thing is, I could have used the little hole maker. Well, there's a couple things I could have done different with these, with the clear ones. When I poured that resin, I could have just put the starfish right on it, which I didn't. I didn't think about it. I'm talking about the clear ones, not the ones with the dawn effect. And I also, instead of having to drill through them, all of them, I could have used the little hole maker, the little Windows hole maker, and then I wouldn't have had to drill. But the drilling is not that big of a deal, and I had the tool anyway, so that's what I did. But anyway, with the hole maker, you can make all different, there's all different size holes that you can make with it, with the little Windows hole maker. But anyway, so I finished this up putting beads on all these too, and they were all so super cute. I just really enjoyed making them. A couple of the wood beads, I needed the holes to be a little bit bigger, and I also used the drill to make the hole just a little bit bigger to put the string through. Now you can get a smaller string. I guess maybe I had a string that was a little fat, but the glass beads, the holes were huge in them. So the next project I did with the starfish was to make a starfish with some blue glitter. Put a little Elmer's glue in it to keep the glitter from sinking. The only problem with using glitter in these special effect molds is it kind of takes away from the crystal effect of it. It still is very pretty, but it doesn't really show the crystal effect. So for this next project, I painted an oval frame grayish blue, and the resin I'm using is Bond Crafter. Actually, all the resin I've used in this project is Bond Crafter. The molds were all made with Bond Crafter. This is Bond Crafter here, and on the canvases I used Bond Crafter tabletop epoxy. And the resin that I'm using of Bond Crafters is actually the casting resin. It's not the tabletop epoxy. The casting resin you can use on your glass on glass art, and it will not leave fish eyes, and you can actually cure it in the resiner's curing machine or on this curing table. The heat will not affect it. It will cure in 2 hours. So I just sprinkled some glass around the perimeter. This is Michael's Ashland decorative filler, and then I put the pretty starfish right in the middle, and I let it cure up for 2 hours. And this is the large table that I have, curing table, and I set it for, I think it goes up to 158 degrees for 2 hours, and it comes with a nice cover, and it acts as a dust cover and to hold the heat in. The next project with the starfish is I'm making a night light, and I only made one, but I tell you, these are so pretty. I should have made a dozen of them. So I just used my UV resin and spread it evenly over the night light, and the UV resin that I'm using is Bond Crafter. They have UV resin and it works really well. And I just put the starfish on, the glass on, put the UV light on it, and it's cured. And if you've never worked with UV resin before, you might want to use a high viscosity one. It's thicker and you'll have a little bit more control of it, although the regular UV resin I'm sure you would do fine with. And then last but not least, so easy, just take some E6000 and I put it on top of a wood top jar, and it looks so pretty, so simple yet so pretty. I could think of so many places to put this in the house and so many different things to put in it. Hey everyone, do you believe all of these from just one mold? Luckily, I have the curing tables to make it go faster. So anyway, one of the first things I did was this, and I thought this was super pretty. Just, it's so simple and it's so pretty. The starfish with the glass around it. You don't have to have an oval mold. You can buy a simple rectangular coastal frame and put that in the middle, rectangular or square. Put the glass around it. I just think that's so pretty, just like that. And that's actually with glitter. I filled that that starfish with glitter. And then I did these two on the stands, which I thought were pretty. I don't know if I like the white one as much as the other one, but this is the one with the sand and the colored water. But this is the one that I did I cured up about 3/4 full with clear resin and then put the sand in. And then I told you I was going to show you the difference. And then this one here just has the sand and the colored resin. And so this is the difference. I think this is much prettier like that. What do you guys think? So that would be my suggestion. And then the other thing is, so these molds that I use this on, so this I just ended up using the real tall coaster mold. But I had originally bought these to do it in because I thought this edge effect is so pretty. But I do not recommend these. I got these on Amazon, and I think Into Resin sells these too. But any mold that you have a lip on, it catches bubbles underneath, and they were a pain to get out. So I ended up just using these, and I worked on them for like 15 minutes going under the rim with, you can't use anything sharp because you don't want to scratch the mold, but I went under it with like a round dotting tool and over again, pulling the bubbles out. It was a pain. But so I don't recommend these kind of coaster molds, but I wanted it 2 level. That's why I wanted this to use at least the smaller one. I love the colors in the blues in that. I don't know if they're showing up there, but they sure are pretty. So anyway, that was those two. This was one idea to do with it. And it would look pretty just as a decoration. And you could even write words here. Like if you have a cricket, you could put like starfish wishes or something like that. I think that would be super pretty. And then I did all these ornaments and just all different ways, all different colors. I think they look best with the translucents. And you can use like alcohol ink or just different colorants. So the mica powders I don't like as much, but you can use pigment paste, which I did. This is actually the Tea Expert pigment paste. And if you just use a dot of it, it will be translucent. So I thought those were super pretty. They have some really nice pigment paste. And I'm trying to think what else I used. These are all, this is actually a glow in the dark. I was making a ghost and I had extra, so I dumped it in. And I used all different things. So this is mica powder, and this is the eye candy mica powder, which I use for a lot of stuff. I really think that's pretty, like that. But the other whites were, I used, this is a color change. Although I don't see a color change, but that's a pretty white. And then this one is actually that alcohol ink. It's kind of a glittery, it adds some glitter or sparkle. Oops, that's not the right one. Where'd it go? Oh, here it is. It's very subtle, but I thought that was real pretty. And I just did every color you could think of. I did some bright hot pink. I think I was doing something else and I ended up with extra pink. And this is some more of the glow in the dark. That one was real pretty. And then I did, of course I did them on the clear ones with the Let's Resin Chameleon Flakes, which I thought was pretty. And also I did them on the with the Dawn dishwasher, whatever effect. So I have done that before, but it's been a year since, and so I couldn't remember exactly what I did. So first I wasn't going to show you the mistakes, but I figured that's how I learned, so that's how you would learn too, what not to do. So the Dawn dishwasher, effect. So it's better to less is more and stand back further from it. So you don't want a whole bunch on it, and you just want to stand back further. And I just think they turned out so pretty. Isn't that pretty, the effect on the back there? Yeah, they all turned out so pretty. And also the glitter on there. Can you see that glitter? It's a real, I wouldn't suggest, I don't think it makes it look Christmassy, but I guess it could make it Christmassy. I don't know. But I mean, it just adds a little bit of sparkle to your coastal projects. So this, my favorite ones are the ones with the crushed shells in it. So the blue, I just think these are so pretty. Let me see if I can. Look at that blue. Isn't that beautiful? I think that's so pretty. And you can get these crushed shells in green and in a multicolor, but I think for these, I really like these too. And I just think they're so pretty. And the beads, I just love the beads. So I just think that adds to it. So I bought all these beads. I bought all the beads. Getting 3 packages, thinking, oh, I'm going to pick which ones I like and send the other ones back, because Amazon's so easy, just send it back. But I got them and I loved them all, so I ended up keeping them. And I'm sure I'll use them for something else. But the wood ones, now if you have wood beads already and don't want to spend any more money, I mean, you can just paint them. You could spray paint them any color you want. But I really liked these because they had the other little beads in it. They had shell beads, and they had starfish, and it had a seahorse and that in it. I thought those were cute. And then so look at the size of the holes on those. That's what you need, are the big holes. This has a large hole, not as big as the other, but I was able to drill it more with that little resiner's tool I have. I really like that. And speaking of drilling, so the majority of these I drilled through to make the holes. The little Windows hole makers do not work on the sand dollar mold because it has a pattern on the bottom. It's too bumpy. It won't adhere to it, so you can't use that. So you have to drill a hole, or else use these bail blanks, they call them. This is the tag. I got them from Michael's. You can get them on Amazon. And you can put it in while it's curing, or you can glue it to the back after. Excuse me. So those are pretty much the 2 options. Drill a hole. Now, which one? These 2 with the shells, they're really high. I can't drill through it with my resiner's tool. And my husband tried to do, and he ruined one of them. So these ones are better off putting the bail blanks on the back. Do not try to drill through them. And I actually had done, what did I do? The crab that I did the video on last week. I did one with sea glass, and my husband tried to drill through it even with his own, and he broke it. So bail blanks for anything that is not just resin, if it has anything else in it. I don't remember what we did with this. I just glued that there. I didn't have to have a hole in it. I was going to say, what did I do? Anyway, so many different, you could do them in so many different colors, and just the different beads to decorate them with. And just so many cute ideas. And I'm going to do close-ups of everything. And then the nightlight, isn't that pretty? I think that nightlight is so pretty. You could do it in so many different colors. And wouldn't that look pretty with this one on it? I think it would look so pretty with the one with that on it. But I just love it. They sparkle, and then the glass around it sparkles. I would think these would be big sellers at, if you're in a coastal area. People come down here on vacation and get stuff and bring it back. Just to have something coastal to remind them of, their vacations or whatnot. But I love this nightlight. I only made one of them. You could make them in every color. I think they're so pretty. And then the other thing, last but not least, is the jars. How simple is that? Isn't that pretty? You just you have an ordinary jar and you put the starfish on it, it makes it so pretty. And I got these, I've been saving jars for like 4 months now because I was gonna do a whole video on jars. I even made a mold for a top of one of the Dollar Tree jars because they had a whole bunch of them, but now they're all sold out. The Dollar Tree, they're changing everything. Their prices are going up. Some stuff they don't carry anymore. But this was $7.99 for 2 of them. So $3.50 each, and you plop one of these on top. I would think you'd be able to sell that. This is something that you could have this in the kitchen, put sugar in it, put it in the bathroom, put, different things in it. I just think it's so cute. And I don't remember, did I show you the sides of these? Gosh, I forget. I've been talking so much. So, this is the dishwasher, the Dawn Effect, and be sure you do the sides. I think that looks so pretty. Some of them I didn't do as good as others, but isn't that pretty? I just love it. And the glitter. So it just gives it a little sparkle. It doesn't necessarily make it Christmas or anything, although it could make it Christmassier if you're trying to sell them as ornaments. But I just think it adds a little bit of glitter or sparkle to your coastal art. And that glitter is real fine glitter from Resiners. This is I'm not sure exactly what that means, but that's what it says on the side, and it's real pretty, real fine, sparkly glitter. I think these could have used some bigger glitter. I don't really like it on that. I like these better on the ones with the special Dawn Effect on it. But anyway, they're all pretty. They all look pretty. What else do I have to tell you about? I think I told you everything. All right, well, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. That really helps the channel. I'm going to be having, I usually put out 1 video a week. I'm going to try to put out at least 2 a week with the holidays coming up and all that. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, please consider subscribing. We have the Facebook page going, amazing group over there. Everybody's putting out their holiday art. Everybody's getting excited about the holidays. Come check us out over there, and I hope you all have a great day. Thanks for watching.
Let's take it slow. Where you go, I go too. And if you hit the bottom, I'm going down with you. Let's take it slow. Who cares where we gotta be? You know you'll have a good time wherever you're with me. Let's take it. Ask me how we got here, 'cause you don't know how. You say we're taking on water, yeah, we're sinking now. You're looking all concerned, like we're gonna drown. But we both know how to swim, no worries, let's float for now. Let's take it slow. Where you go, I go too. And if you hit the bottom, I'm going down with you. Let's take it slow.